Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has thrown his hands up after another frustrating race at the British Grand Prix, amid news that the Scuderia's technical director Enrico Cardile has resigned. Leclerc has struggled for results since winning Monaco, with fifth in Spain his only top 10 appearance in the 4 races since, with Silverstone yet another disappointment after an early switch to intermediates. Leclerc says the squad needs to regroup after a tough period that saw it roll back its Barcelona upgrade to eradicate the bouncing in high-speed corners for a more consistent balance. I don't really have the words to explain it, but it's been 4 races that it's been worse than a nightmare, he said. Mercedes pilot George Russell has admitted he knew his chance to win the British Grand Prix was gone from lap 24, with his car losing power 10 laps before he was forced to retire with a water system issue. Russell, who started from pole, kept the lead into turn 1, but was passed by his Mercedes teammate Hamilton on lap 18, just as the rain began, and he soon knew he was in trouble. I knew it was going to be a long race, and I wanted to be patient, he said. We were still in the fight, but 10 laps before the failure, I knew I had a problem because I was losing power. Sky Sports commentator Davide Valsecchi says Sergio Pérez's Red Bull Drive is untenable with his current gap to Max Verstappen in qualifying, mirroring comments from team boss Christian Horner. Checo has struggled to match Verstappen recently, with rumors he'll soon be replaced by either Daniel Ricciardo or Liam Lawson, given he's 137 points and 5 places behind Verstappen in the drivers' standings. And Valsecchi, in an interview with official podcast F1 Nation, says Red Bull won't wait long to make a decision.
I hope for him to see him brilliant in one of the next races, because I know that he's able to do better. And like this is not enough. 7 tenths per lap, slower than your teammates. Okay, it's not the gap that give you the chance to stay in Formula 1 for much longer. It's a trouble, but these guys, everyone dreams to arrive there. Top 20 in Formula 1. 7 tenths, I'm sorry, is too much.
McLaren's Lando Norris says his friendship with Red Bull rival Max Verstappen is overplayed and that he will take the fight to him on track in future, regardless of how things between them might change. Norris and Verstappen have been the sport's main protagonists up front this year, with fallout in Austria where the pair collided. But in a chat with F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid, Norris says he's here to perform and do his job, and the rest will work itself out.
Normally when you've seen teammates and you've seen people have these rivalries, it often doesn't end well. But I think what we have is just respect for one another. I feel like people sometimes make it sound like too friendly. Like we don't pick up the phone and call each other every day or text each other every day. We just have a lot of respect for one another. As simple as that.
Pierre Gasly says that Carlos Sainz is the best of Alpine's 3 options for 2025, but that alternatives, reserve Jack Doohan and WEC racer Mick Schumacher, are both very talented and fast. Sainz is reportedly locked in a 3-way battle for his services between Sauber, Williams, and more recently Alpine, with the Spaniards stressed and consumed by the decision between races. But Gasly is hoping a deal can be worked out, with the Frenchman keen for the most competitive teammate, despite Doohan and Schumacher's experience within Alpine. He's got slightly more to bring, and that'll obviously be the best option, Gasly said. Williams F1 driver Logan Sergeant could be racing in Indycar from 2025, with the young American talking with Prema Racing, who will field a startup squad on the other side of the Atlantic from next year. Prema, based in the northern Italian town of Grizignano di Zocco, not far from Venice, will run 2 Chevrolet-powered cars out of a new facility in Indianapolis, where many IndyCar teams are based. But while Sargeant is likely to leave Williams at the end of the season, a deal to race in the USA is far from done, least of all from Prema's side, with the squad concentrating on infrastructure. We are talking, but from the driver's side, we are not really interested in discussing now much, because I have been concentrating on building up the team in the style that we all want, and drivers will be on the second stage, said Prema boss René Rossen. F1 design legend Adrien Newey says he's set to make a decision on the next step of his career by the end of 2024. Newey, the sport's most successful designer with 12 title-winning cars to his name, announced in May that he would leave Red Bull in early 2025 following a 19-year stint at Milton Keynes. But while rival team bosses would love to sign the veteran Brit, Ferrari included, where he could name his price and work with its incoming driver Sir Lewis Hamilton, Newey says he must first finish work on Red Bull's road-going RB17 hypercar before a much-needed break, with a decision expected before the European winter. That's certainly a target. By then, I'll need to make my mind up, Newey said. Aston Martin has continued its quest of rounding up F1's brightest brains, with news that it has secured former Mercedes engine boss Andy Cowell as its new group CEO, replacing Martin Whitmarsh. Cowell was a major architect in Mercedes' sustained success through the sport's turbo hybrid era, including 8 straight constructors' titles via its HPP engine works, but left the firm in mid-2020. The Brits' arrival in October this year will mean that the Green Squad has a major work specialist to advise on 2026, with rumors Ferrari technical director Enrico Cardile is also set to join. F1 has always been my competitive passion, and I am joining Aston Martin Aramco at an exciting time, Cowell said. Alpine has boosted its engineering might under technical director David Sanchez, with the French squad signing talent from Red Bull and Ferrari that it hopes will play a part in its revival. Michael Broadhurst and Vin Donani both joined from Red Bull as the chief aerodynamicist and head of vehicle performance respectively, while from Ferrari, Jacopo Fantoni is Alpine's new deputy chief engineer. Alpine has now scored double points at 2 of its last 4 Grands Prix, having gotten the A524 to the minimum weight and added performance, with the squad restructuring under the watchful eyes of team boss Bruno Firmin, Sanchez, and executive advisor Flavio Briatore. The team is growing World Championship winning potential across the board in order to be contenders at the front of the grid once again, said an Alpine spokesperson. McLaren shot itself in the foot at Silverstone, but showed it could win at Indycar's Mid-Ohio round, the series' hybrid engine debut, where Pato O'Ward claimed his second victory of the season. O'Ward started on the front row alongside Chip Ganassi champion Alex Palou and slotted into second at turn 1. But it all changed on lap 55 when the leader made a slow getaway from his second stop. And O'Ward, who had stopped a lap earlier, capitalized with a pass for the lead on Palou as he exited the pits, which sealed the win and lifted him to third in the standings, ahead of this weekend's Iowa doubleheader.
That was a hard-fought race. We were really strong on the reds. Palau was really strong on the blacks. So all I needed to do was just kind of stay at bay in the first stint and then come into the pits and put those reds on, kind of try and close the gap.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.